a response video to a video by anti-feminists. Feminists who are against feminism. Feminists against whatever. I mean, the excessive feminism thing. So anyway, I'll try not to get distracted. Don't look at the screen, Gary. Don't look at the screen. I just want to make a counter-argument to a couple of things. I think the rhetoric's just excessive. This whole idea, it's your body, you can sell it, do whatever you want, blah, blah, blah. So why don't we allow television to go where it wants to go? Why don't we just allow television to pay people to cut their ears off, to cut their penises off? I mean, there's people who will, for money, do these things. You know it. You pay them money, they will do outrageously stupid things. They'll spin around on a jackhammer, up their ass or something. They'll do crazy motherfucking shit. They'll be fucked by a horse. So yeah, if you're going to make that argument, I think it's really bogus to say it's my body and I can do whatever I want with it. No, we have lots of rules that say you can't do certain things. So anyway, and look, the feminists are arguing about the sex industry, and they're also arguing about this thousands-of-year-old problem where, yes, women are, it's not just about objectifying, it's about the fact that there's this problem, this natural problem, where, men are motivated and driven by a different lust for life than women are. And that creates a kind of a problem where, men can be satisfied with a trivial, there's probably a word for it, some debauchery kind of word, but you know what I mean. The 15 minutes of glory is all they're after. Men are after that kind of thing, and women want the whole long storybook, picket fencey, bullshitty thing. And that's just a fact. And so this sex industry stuff does, it just makes that problem worse. And that's just a fact. But okay, first of all, I'll just say, look, I'm not for prohibiting or banning anything, all that kind of crap. Yeah, right, that's just stupid. Prohibition does not work. But there's lots of ways maybe to take some of the money out of it, because the money does make it sort of ugly. And I think it does drive people into the industry. It's not just you can't deny the fact that the money bribes them to do it. Because I could bribe people. Like I said, you give people enough money in bad circumstances and they will do crazy motherfucking shit. And that's just a fact. And it doesn't take that much money. And so if you're going to, like I said, if you're going to defend this by that stupid logic, that logic takes you to places you're not going to want to go. We'll be feeding humans to lions again. I mean, what, you give me $1 million to give to my family? Yeah, well, maybe I would get fed to a lion. But anyway, I don't mean, whatever. And there's just so much, like I said, the money does make it dirty. And it should be a profession, but it should be an honorable profession. There should be sex surrogates or whatever you want to call them. And there has to be, there has to be protection. But if you turn into this cheap industry, this lazy, sloppy industry, well then you end up with the 13-year-old girls, you end up with all the bullshit, because that's where it's going to tend to go, and you know it. It's a young woman's profession, and that makes it doubly dirty. I mean, you could probably sit there and go through you could find every person, who, let's like, I don't want to pick on homosexuals, but that's the one that's, say, the most unregulated. And so what's the lifespan? What's the life history of somebody doing sex service in the homosexual community? I mean, it's probably not very fucking good. And that's not a non-subject. It is a subject. There are human beings to be protected from not only their own bad judgment, but our own bad character as people. So I might almost argue that it might be worth doing is to cut down on the sex industry part, and maybe have more stuff produced by people who aren't in it for the money. Might be to eliminate copyright on true porn. I mean, force the porn guys to make a movie, maybe a really bad movie with a lot of sex in it, but at least force them to make a movie that has sex in it rather than just a sex movie. by taking away the copyright rights. I mean, don't give them any, if you take away the copyright protection for porn, there's going to be a lot less of it, because especially now it's just too easy to steal it, and it'll be uploaded by people all over the place instantly, and there'd be just no way for them to make money at it anymore. And so then you'd only have the amateur stuff, the stuff that was more honest, the stuff made because people like sex instead of people selling. It's this industry shit, and I don't think you're appreciating that that's where a lot of this comes from. But also a lot of it comes from the fact that there's some people who just aren't obsessed with the sex thing. And if I was a woman in this culture, it would bother me if I was going to be perceived as a sex object all the time, and I was going to be measured against this image of what a woman's supposed to be. That's maximized to be arousing to a male. So I mean, if we reverse this situation, and women were the sluts, for sex, and us men were the ones wanting to be cared for and to be loved and to be appreciated, and all the women were flocking to go watch men with 15-inch dicks and that was in perfect shape and all this stuff, if that was the standard we had to live up to, I could see how that would just, I wouldn't feel too good about myself. I wouldn't feel worthy, and I wouldn't feel, it would be destructive. And so these are all pretty women doing this video, all attractive women. And so right there, doesn't that say something? I mean, that is your power. Your power is how you can appeal to a male, and that's what it comes down to. And that's why you have the position you're in. That's why you're in the position to make this video and to have a voice, is partly because you have the integrity of being an attractive person. Attractive especially to the male audience that dominates YouTube, and it dominates YouTube. So this is a bit of a bogus argument. Sorry, girls, but and especially this, your timing absolutely sucks. I mean, there's been a lot of bad shit happening to these people, these fringe political group who voices their opinion, and they've been completely abused and fucked with. And so this is no time to do this, make this political statement. I don't see this big steamroller of feminist ideology coming down to crush you. Yes, there's religious ideology. You want to argue against moronic religious fucktards who want to sanction your sexuality? I'm all for it. But if you're going to argue against these fringe feminists who are fighting for women having some sort of integrity beyond being objects to please a man, really, if you're going to talk about equal rights for women, you really have to talk about us all wearing bags or something. And now we're back to the burqa bullshit. Where we take away this appeal of this cosmetic crap and deal with the real human beings that exist inside of this skin shit. Anyway, I'm getting madder now that I'm thinking more and more about this video, because this is really just not, this bad timing, bad argument. I didn't like it. So there. But I'm not for prohibitions or bans. Yes, prostitution should be legal, but it shouldn't even be prostitution. It should be therapy for people who can't, because it works both ways. Men are these horrible things that are demanding, that are players. They're playing women way too often. They're just sitting there buying a commodity too often. And but the reverse is there's lots of men in the world who, they don't want to get married, or else they aren't attractive enough, or they aren't something else, but they're still male. They still feel this alpha need to express that sexuality, and women can get away with it, unfortunately, because men are so desperate that even an unattractive woman, she can still put a for sale sign on herself. An unattractive man who doesn't have money or doesn't have something else, some other competence, a loser, he's just that. He's not going to have anything. So, so there should be options for people to have some sort of satisfying sexual experience in their life, and there should be a mechanism for them to get that, but it should have a little more dignity than this idea of I'm going to bribe a woman out of her panties. I mean, that's just fucking ugly. I'm sorry. It's just an ugly idea. And it's tragic that we can't do better than it. That's what I'm looking. It's just tragic that we can't come up with something better. I mean, if the only options are this sloppy capitalist exploitation shit or prohibition, then we're dropping the ball. There's got to be another option. Okay, enough of the video. So anyway, that was sort of, well, it was fun just because the girls are in it, you know. It's not a fun subject. I can't even believe I'm making a pro-feminist video. That's just so fucking bizarre. But I'm, you know, I like looking at naked women. But anyway, it's not the point. I think I made the point that it's not the point.